Hey, how you going? It's Donna here. And today I thought I would finalise Kota's story, let you know what happened. But first I thought I'll give you a bit of a quick summary of his complete story and the healing that he's gone through. So Kota's owner came to me because it appeared as though Kota had allergies. He was constantly rubbing at himself, itching, scratching, biting at his paws. He had a real dry, cracked nose, and it often made him sort of snore a bit. He couldn't seem to breathe properly. He licked a lot too. He licked himself, he licked other humans, and so the owner came to me and sort of in hope of being able to heal him in some way. Okay, so the first session I did with Kota, the first thing that came up was that he needed this animal essence called Breathe Easy. So yeah, basically first I'll quickly go into what an essence is. It's basically a liquid solution that captures the energy of plants and flowers, crystals, sort of organic matter. And these essences can be combined in such a way that they are made for certain issues to heal, specific things. So obviously Breathe Easy is all about helping an animal breathe. It's specifically formulated for dogs with allergies who can't breathe properly, any sort of breathing issue. So it kind of made sense that Breathe Easy came up because Kota's owner had sort of said that the dog does have trouble snoring has trouble breathing, which makes him sort of snore. Something else that came up in that first session was Kota's sensing chakra needed clearing and balancing. Now basically dogs have their major chakras, but they also have these minor chakras, and the sensing chakra is just sort of in the middle of the nose here. And it also consists of other chakras, such as chakras located on their paw pads, the nose tip, the tail tip, and so forth. And basically it's about their sensing experience, how they experience the different senses that they're surrounded by in their life. So it kind of made sense that his sensing chakra was out of whack, because if he's got all these allergies, his senses would be going off left, right and centre, and so that would just throw things out of balance. So, it made perfect sense that, he'd probably need that clearing and balancing. Now, what else first came up too was the root chakra, and also Kota's self-preservation chakra needed balancing. Now, the root chakra and the self-preservation, they're both related, and it's very much the fight or flight response. It's very primal. Yeah, it's all about survival instincts, and an imbalance can be like fears and anxieties and so forth. And so I didn't really know why that came up, because it didn't really seem to have much to do with the allergies. The only thing I could sort of think about was maybe the root chakra came up because it has to do with the immune system, and the self-preservation is related to the root chakra. So I thought maybe it was just an immune system issue as far as having to deal with the allergies go. But yeah, I really wasn't quite sure why that came up. But it wasn't until the next session that I discovered why these two chakras would have come up. Okay, so in the second session, a couple of emotions came up that needed to be cleared, and they were scarcity and greed. Yeah, and to me, the two sort of seemed a little bit, associated. I guess if you're feeling scarcity about something, it might cause you to get greedy. And it came from his previous owner. And yeah, I guess I should state at this point that our animals do pick up on our emotions, especially our repressed emotions, and quite often absorb those emotions, which can cause dis-ease in the long run, but I'll talk a little bit more into that later on. And then what else Kota needed was another animal essence, and it's called Nature's Blessing, and it has to do with living in an unnatural environment. And it kind of didn't make sense as far as where he's living now goes, because basically he's living in open fields and open country, and beautiful place where he lives. He gets to run around and has a nice big backyard as well. So it didn't sort of make sense why that would come up. Yeah, but it was after the session when I got feedback from the owner. It turns out Kota was a rescue, and when the owner went and picked up Kota, they gave her, or the rescue centre gave her images of the state that they found Kota in. And basically he was locked down in a basement concrete floor, no bedding. He was quite a skinny Kota at the time as well. So yeah, I would say that's a pretty unnatural environment for a dog. And it might also explain why his root chakra and self-preservation chakra came up, because I'm sure it wasn't a very pleasant place for Kota to be. And the fact that the emotions of greed and scarcity came up, I couldn't help but think that maybe the previous owner, I don't know, maybe ran into some financial issues. Yeah, I don't know, but you know. Okay, so moving on, basically the next session with Kota was really a lot to do with increasing his confidence and his ability to trust humans. A couple of emotions came up again that needed to be cleared, and one was distrust. Yeah, and the other one was insecurity. So that, you know, it kind of very much relates to him and his previous living situation, I would say. Okay, so in the next session after that, I think it was his 4th session, more emotions came up that needed to be released, and a couple of those were like peace and harmony. And the owner sort of explained how she really believed that Kota yearned for harmony in his life and just peace, and which, you know, kind of makes sense from what he'd experienced, I'm sure. So yeah, at this point, I'll speak a little bit more into the whole emotional thing. Basically, quantum science has proven that everything is energy, and therefore, if everything is energy, everything gives off a frequency. And emotions basically mean energy and motion. So when we're feeling emotions, we give off a certain frequency. Now, our pets can pick up off this. I mean, have you ever noticed how, you know, maybe when you're feeling upset, your dog will come up and just want to sort of comfort you and be with you? Well, they know, they sense these things, they can pick it up off us. But what they can do, or what they do also, is when we're feeling these emotions, especially when they're suppressed, they tend to absorb these emotions. And now when these emotions enter the body, basically they can enter in through the chakra systems, which are like funnels, which then enter into our meridians. And the meridians are all associated with certain body parts. So for example, there's a liver meridian, large intestine meridian, and so forth. So basically, you know, this frequency, this energy frequency, they can absorb into their bodies, and it can actually cause dis-ease over a period of time. So having these emotions come up for Kota is so important. It's so important that I'm able to release these emotions for him to ensure that these emotions don't cause him any disease in the future. And you know, it's something that I really love about this work. It's just like our pets give us so much. I love being able to give this back to them. I love being able to release this stuff for them so that it doesn't cause them any issues in the future. I mean, obviously not everything's just related to emotions, you know, there's other things that help with our animals' health, such as, you know, what we feed them and the exercise and all that sort of stuff. But emotions are certainly a big part of it. And I think you'll find, I believe anyway, that even in humans, most dis-ease, if you look back at it, is a lot of it's caused from emotions, you know, this energy that gets in our system and disrupts things a little. So anyway, enough about that. I'll move on. Okay, so it was in Kota's next session. So it must have been the 5th session. This is where the poop really hit the fan. So what I should say, yeah, is after the 4th session, after releasing those emotions, basically normally what would happen is when I'm doing a healing system, I message the person and let them know everything that came up, and ask them obviously to give me a little bit of feedback. And anyway, Kota's owner didn't get back to me, and I thought it was really strange because she's normally right on it and gets back to me, and it'd been a couple of days, and I thought, no worries, you know, everyone's busy. But it turned out a couple of days later, she got hold of me and just sort of said, you know, soon after the last healing session that I did with Kota, he ended up unwell. Basically what had happened, he had this arterial bleed from his nose, like from this, I think it's called the nasal perineum. Yeah, so he got this really bad bleed, and the owner had to like hold it, and if she let it go, it'll just keep squirting out blood. And she's like, oh my God, you know, she actually thought she was going to be putting her dog down. So luckily enough, she was able to get the dog to an emergency vet. You know, she lives out in the country, so it's not all that easy for her to get her dog into any vet, but she managed to find an emergency vet. And yeah, with a little bit of investigation, the vet was quite easily able to diagnose Kota's disease. It turned out Kota has this thing called nasal arteritis, not arthritis, but arteritis. And basically what that is, it's like an autoimmune disease, and it causes inflammation and ulcering in this center bit, was it the nasal perineum? Let me just have a look. Sorry, it's the nasal planum. It's the nasal planum. So yeah, basically it's an autoimmune disease, and it attacks this, and basically it degenerates this. And yeah, the vet was really surprised that no other vet had been able to diagnose this before, because the vet actually thought it was quite obvious that this was the disease that Kota had had all this time. So at this stage, the vet prescribed some steroids and a little bit of a change to Kota's diet as well. And I would say that would involve an anti-inflammatory diet. Now, obviously, I was quite concerned, and I did a quick emergency healing session on Kota as soon as I was able to. And yeah, it wasn't a large session at all. But one thing that did came up, I'll just look it up, yellow fluorite. He needed the crystal yellow fluorite. And it turns out one of the benefits of this crystal is that it stimulates regeneration of the cells and the restructuring of the cells and the DNA. So it just made perfect sense that this crystal would come up. And basically, it's not a case of me telling the owner to get this crystal. I'm actually able to send the frequency of this crystal to the animal. They receive it and gain those benefits of the crystal healing. Okay, so what did the owner think about all this? I mean, it could have looked like maybe I caused an issue, but no, she was so happy with all the healing that took place. She really believed that if it wasn't for the healing, if it wasn't for all the releasing of all the stuff that needed to be released, if it wasn't for getting rid of or enabling Kota to feel at home with his new family and be able to trust his new owners and let go of his past, it enabled Kota to be more himself. It enabled Kota to have the freedom to let go and, for something a bit serious to happen, so he could finally be diagnosed with the nasal arteritis that he actually had, because it wasn't actually allergies that the owner thought Kota had. So I asked the owner if she was happy for me just to do, more sessions if required, and she was more than happy for me to do another session. So I did do one. And the main thing that came up with that session was Kota needed to balance love. Apparently he was a very in-your-face kind of dog, always wanted to be around you, wanted to feel comforted, was overly loving. And so I needed to balance that, probably just to settle him down, just so he could feel content and just feel that nice, relaxed kind of love, rather than being overly, it's like when you're looking for it too much, you don't get it. So by balancing the love in his system, he was able to chill, and he got all the love that he needed. So I thought that was really, really sweet. And then after that, he didn't actually need another session. So what happened after all this? Well, basically, Kota has gone from a dog that appeared to have allergies to actually being diagnosed with nasal arteritis, being a happy and healthy dog, allergy-free, disease-free. Like he's just a bundle of energy, a bundle of joy, and his owners are so happy, and it's created such a beautiful bond, this bond between this rescue dog and his new owners. So I guess the question really comes down to, did I actually help with this or not? Well, I guess I'll let you decide, but feel free to comment in the comments below if you like. More than happy to know what you think. So until next time, I'll leave you with this. It's quite often our suppressed emotions that our pets will really absorb and pick up off. So, if you're feeling an emotion, own it. Allow yourself to feel it. It's actually good to feel it, because that's when the healing takes place. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Hope you got something out of this, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.